Okay.
All right, so continuing on with our house studio visit, let's take a look at this little tiny hallway. And here's some real special pieces for me. This is a portrait of my dad out in front of the house when we lived back in Pennsylvania. It's one of my favorite pieces, and it's an acrylic painting. And on this canvas, this is another acrylic. This is a portrait of my grandmother. It's called 4 to 12, and she's waiting for my grandfather to come home from work, and you can see the light on in the kitchen. But the significance of this room for me is that this is the Goebel miniature era. And what amazes me is I worked for Goebel Miniatures from 1979 to about 1993. So here we have about 14 years all summed up in this case. And the major transitions is that we did in-scale miniatures, which is what happened in the living room. And then we went from that to taking figurines. We began to do work for Disney under license, and we began to put them into backgrounds. And this was a landmark change for us. So here in this case, this really began to expand the Goebel Miniatures business. And we started out with 2 people, and we ended up with 97 on staff. So the idea here was to do a background and take your figurines, and you could place them wherever you wanted, and to tell a story. So we went on to do Cinderella, Peter Pan, Pinocchio, and I forget the other one right now. But anyways, and Snow White. Oh, thank you. And I've always had a love of wildlife, and you can see how tiny this piece is. So there's a whole base of people that remember me from this period, and of course there's a whole base of people remember me from when they met me when I was teaching. And then these are some very special pieces of my children, Meredith and David. And this probably is one of my very favorite sets. And this is the Jack and the Beanstalk series. I just love this Jack and the Cow piece. It's has a European porcelain flavor. And then this is another one of my favorite pieces. At that time, Disney and the classics weren't giving credit for the artists that worked on these, but this really is a piece that I did. And I own the problems of whether this was going to be solved or not. And there was a team of us that worked on this. Paul Larson and I were 2 of the sculptors on it, but it was my problem to solve. So I'm proud to have this in my display cabinet. And I remember going to Germany to oversee the finish on this dress, and was it going to be shiny? It was going to be a low sheen, and that was a big conversation we had. And of course we did, during my years with Goebel, we did around 27 miniature Hummels. And that was just a great time of my career. And then I like to say this is that, and I think this is be the last final note for this little segment in this hallway. The reason I'm doing this segment is because during this 14-year period that I was with Goebel, I'm going to show you this. For me to go out and talk to collectors, I did this in over that 14-year period. I did 450 shows in shops. And this book is a record of all those shows. So I love talking about the work. I'm excited about it. You can see I have a passion for it. And every one of these is a show somewhere. So if I wanted to go out and talk about the work, I'd have to get on an airplane and go from Houston or to Oklahoma up to Chicago. And so, again, here's every show I'd ever done under the Goebel Miniatures banner. So it took a lot of effort to do this. So at this age, for me, 63, it's not that I'm old, but I really don't have the energy to go out anymore for 28 days in a row and do 450 shows. So what I've chose to do, and my brother and I have talked about this, is we're going to start doing videos and posting them on our website. So great. So that's